What is this for, man? Honestly, what is this for? So you pulled me over. I asked you to give me my fine because apparently I was doing something illegal, alright? And then you're taking me to hospital now? Come on, man. I'm not mental.
I'm explaining to you, based on the comments that you've made today, alright, you have to go to hospital. You don't have a choice.
I do have a choice, man. I've done nothing wrong. Man, this is becoming a police state. Look at Australia. This is what's happening. I'm getting sent to hospital for something that... What are you going to do to me in the hospital? You want to vaccinate me?
You're just going to speak to a doctor, man.
I don't want to speak to a doctor. I'm telling you, I just want my fine.
Tell the police what we're at the point where we don't have a choice.
Man, alright, I'm sorry for saying that.
Well, I accept your apology. You don't, alright, but unfortunately it's been made now and we have to go to the hospital.
I'm not going to hospital, bro. I'm not going to hospital. I don't need to go to the hospital. I'm asking you, I'm telling you, I'm not going to hospital, bro.
You don't have a choice. Let's just make things a lot easier.
What do you mean make things easier, man? You guys are making it hard. I'm telling you, I want to go home.
Why you come to me, man? Fuck off. Come here. Fuck you, man.
This post is probably going to get me in trouble, but I heard someone say that if they try to force vaccinations on people, we need to flee to the wilderness. I'm not fleeing nowhere. It's been a few years, but I think I still got it in me. I think I still got it in me. Now, I don't use my military background for praises. I don't do that. Most of you didn't even know that I served in the Marine Corps, and that's fine. I don't really care nothing about all of that. But if you try to force something on me, I'm not running anywhere. I'm going to kill you.
Boom shakalaka, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters around the world. It is your boy Chris Shule, aka the Esoteric Noetic, aka the Chocolate Nubian Soul Brother from Ghana, West Africa. Dropping the wisdomatic truth bombs here in Melbourne, Australia, mate. Yeah, no, you know you can rely on me because I'm on team. You know I've got my boom shakalaka, right? Yeah, mate. Well, I haven't, but I identify that I have because I'm a transvestite. Oh! Be sure to like the video, subscribe, click on the bell, tell your friends, tell your mom, drop some comments, let us know what it is. Oh, a lot to get through. Now, I've been away for a minute because I got another strike. I've been a naughty boy. Apparently, I was dropping medical misinformation, or at least from what I can gather, because YouTube never tells you what you've said wrong when it strikes you. From what I can gather, I uploaded a video, and even though it was showing Fauci saying some what I would have thought was medical misinformation, from what I can gather, in the comments, it was a TikTok video, someone had written some naughty stuff about the efficacy of the boom shakalaka, and that may have not been liked by the YouTube censorship committee. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, do not fret, that shall not stop my momentum. I know I've been getting a lot more views lately, a lot of people have been tuning in on the main channel, and obviously I'm not going to be able to post on that, but I invite you to subscribe to the main channel. I invite you to share these videos. And rest assured, your Chocolate Nubian is going to be coming back stronger than ever. Of course, I'm going to be a bit more cautious in the future. But to make sure that I continue standing on the river of truth and saying no to the tyranny that is unfolding on this planet. Oh, now, the videos I shared, pretty intense, right? The sentiments of that brother at the end of that video, I'm going to kill you if you try to force me to take the boom shakalaka. That is how I, and I'm sure many of you feel. And it is not a joke. For all you momos out there that are advocating that people need to be forcibly boom shakalaka. Yeah, mate, look, I feel like, it's uncomfortable saying this, but we're going to have to force people to get raped. Yeah, mate, it's a situation calls for it. This is the argument tyrants. Essentially, this is the fundamental theme that we see throughout history. People burning witches or supposed witches, people burning heathens at the stake, people advocating for the most disgusting, immoral actions in the interest of the greater good. And make no mistake about it, it is always wrong. The ends never justify the means. The means are the ends. And I'm going to be very clear about this. As we saw with one of the videos there, we're moving into a point where police officers are becoming very bold in their justification to take people to the hospital because of, well, look, mate, you seem like you might have some kind of mental problems, or you seem like one of these conspiracy theorists that believes that this thing isn't as serious as it is, mate. And, I think we got to lock you up now, or we got to take you in hospital for your own protection. If I find that I am under threat of being forced to take a boom shakalaka, now, regardless of how you may feel about the science in regards to this, I'm going to make it very clear. I'm going to spell it out for all you momos out there. You're going to have to kill me, because I assure you, you're not taking me willingly. I am going to resist you with every ounce of my being, and if need be, I'm going to kill you. And I know we're in Australia, mate, and you're like, oh, what are you crazy, Crystal? Well, look, I understand the law, I understand the legalese, and I understand basically what I'm dealing with here, but make no mistake about it. If some crazy police officer falsely thinks they have the right to forcibly make me take a boom shakalaka because some idiot bureaucrat has written on a piece of paper that they're allowed to do so. Now, I'm not gonna bother trying to convince you that you're wrong in the matter. If you're forcing me to be raped, or if you're forcing me to go kill someone in some foreign country, if you're forcing me to hunt slaves, with just like all the crazy dictates that the government have been putting through since time immemorial, I'm going to resist that, and I'm going to kill you if need be. And guys, I know a lot of people think that I'm some kind of bleeding heart liberal. Yeah, guys, I am an animal rights activist, and I'm also a human rights activist. But make no mistake about it, as much as I care about the plight of all beings that suffer, I care about my own rights, and I'm not going to allow someone force me to do something that I believe is not in my best interest, that may very well compromise my health. And I will use every ounce of my being to force you to submit to my will, to my boom shakalakas. Boom! And look, guys, I am not by any stretch of the imagination a pushover, guys. I bench press 160 kilograms. I deadlift over 300 kilograms. Pound for pound, there are very, very, very few people that are physically as strong as I am. And I'm not saying this to be arrogant. I'm saying this as a warning that if you want to go at me, I don't care if we're dealing with a couple of police officers, it's not going to be easy, and you're going to get yourself hurt. And look, if need be, I will take your gun and I will shoot you. This is not a joke, guys. If I find that someone is trying to rape me, I don't care if you're wearing a badge. I don't care if some fucking Momo has told you to go do it. You're not doing that. It's utterly evil, and it's immoral, and it's disgusting. And I want people to get into their minds here that just because some guy has given you the power in your mind to do something that is unequivocally wrong, it doesn't make it right. And this justification that I have good intentions, I'm doing it because I want to protect you, it's not acceptable. This is the justification that is always used by tyrants. And this is what, appropriately enough, we have our Lord and Savior, Scott Morrison, saying at the moment, that essentially Australians, because they don't know what's best for them, essentially he's going to bringing about more restrictions. According to Scott Morrison says Australians who choose not to get vaccinated against the COVID boom shakalaka will face more restrictions than their fully vaccinated counterparts once everyone in the country has had the chance to get the jab. Mr. Morrison told Neil Mitchell boom shakalakas will not be made mandatory and backed away from the idea of a boom shakalaka passport, but said there will be restrictions on what on boom shakalaka Australians can do. Do you see the contradiction there? This is how politicians work. Oh, look, mate, it's not going to be mandatory, but yeah, you're not going to be able to enter businesses or leave the state or leave the country unless, of course, you get a boom shakalaka. And then they'll change the definition of mandatory. They'll say, oh, no, by mandatory, I just meant like there'd be restrictions, but we're not going to make it forceful. We're not going to have compulsory vaccinations. These guys are arbiters of illusions. They're wielders of the most dystopian nonsense that you could possibly imagine. You cannot trust anything that comes out of mouths of these douchebags. And like, it makes you think, if this is the definition of freedom that these momos have, these politicians, this is what they mean by mandatory, you have to ask yourself, what else they're lying about? What other definitions have they obfuscated that they're casting over you and trying to fool you through? I mean, perhaps their definition of what we call a boom shakalaka may not consist with the definition that you have in mind. Perhaps the definition of law doesn't, or human rights doesn't, and so on and so forth. And this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with people that are essentially using words as a game. There is no objective truth when you're dealing with these people. So anyway, the article goes on to say, the Prime Minister refused to guarantee Australia will be open by the end of the year. And by open, who the hell knows what that is? Granted, Scott Morrison has kicked the can down the road, and whereas initially we're trying to get a 95% uptake of the boom shakalaka, he's given this magic number in regards to what is going to be required as far as the uptake of the boom shakalakas in order for us to reopen. And the magic number is apparently 80%. So 80% of all you good obedient meh are going to have to get the boom shakalaka. Do the right thing, mate. And apparently then you'll get your freedom back. But if things get worse, according to Scott Morrison, if things get really hairy, well, we're going to have to take your freedoms back. You will never be free as long as you have to ask for permission. The tree of liberty, as Thomas Jefferson once said, needs to be watered by the blood of people that believe in freedom. People that will stand beside the river of truth and plant themselves like a tree. And there's no way of escaping this. This is not going to be an easy road ahead of us. Ladies and gentlemen, freaks and geeks, I actually went to a testing site just yesterday, and you're thinking, what on earth is Crystal the Chocolate Nubian doing at a testing site? Well, obviously, got to work, and I was offered a really good job, really good role, something I really wanted to do. And, you know, they're paying pretty damn well. I'm like, oh, look, I really want to do this thing. So, yeah, you know, I was like, I'm going to do it. Might as well, you know. I mean, as long as you're not compromising your own sovereignty, fundamentally, if I believe that I want to get a shot, I want to get a boom shakalaka, I believe I have every right to. I know a lot of people say, oh, look, you should never give in to the demands. Well, if you want to do something, that's fine. But if you don't want to be raped, don't be raped. If you want to be, it's not rape. But bottom line is, I went to this clinic, right? I wasn't wearing my mask because I have an exemption. And as soon as I was approaching the center, this lady's like, hey, wait, you know, stop. I approached, say, hey, where's your mask? I'm like, oh, I don't wear one. I have an exemption. It's like, well, can you show us your exemption? Well, I'm not required to show you that. I did show them my asthma inhaler, though, when they asked me what my exemption was, even though I didn't have to actually tell them what it was. And then they decided to call, oh, this is what they always do. Oh, let me call my manager. It was a lady. Let me call my manager. Calls up her manager, asks her whether or not I have to show my exemption. And, yeah, she gets back to me. Manager comes out and explains to me that the nurse, for the safety of the nurses, they need you to be wearing a mask. And I told him, well, look, I know by law I'm actually not required to wear one if I'm exempt. And whereas, I mean, if you're saying that I have to do this, that's fair enough. But I just want to make it clear that I'm actually not required to. And we went back and forth, and she was saying, look, let me check. And this is the thing, you have to understand what these guys are doing, because from a purely legal standpoint, unequivocally, they cannot force you to wear a mask if you have an exemption. And go look up what exemption may fit you. But they absolutely cannot do that, regardless of what they may tell you legally, within the legalese system, purely from a legal standpoint, they can't. But they'll always try to play this game where they try to coerce you to do things that you don't want to do. But fundamentally, look, it comes down to whether or not you want to do it. Of course, we went back and forth. They said, oh, look, for the safety of the nurses, we're going to need you to. And considering that basically I needed to do this job the next day, and if I didn't get tested, I wasn't going to be able to do this thing, I said, oh, look, provided I just have to wear it for a few minutes, I'll take it off. Yeah, fine, I'll do it. But here's the funny thing. So I put on the mask. I'm waiting for a few minutes, right? Socially distancing. And then time for me to get my test. They stick this stupid little thing up your nose. I take off my mask. So the whole time, really, being in proximity to people, I wasn't wearing a mask around the nurse that they were telling me that were concerned about their health. So here they are. We spend 5-10 minutes going back and forth with them explaining to me that I have to wear a mask, right, to protect the nurses. And then as I get there, I don't wear my mask because they need to essentially use this thing to put in my nose. And obviously you can't do that with a mask on, so it's like completely pointless. And this just shows the utter stupidity of what we are seeing. Oh, look, man, you need to wear a mask unless you're eating. And then you're eating. And then you stop eating. And they're like, oh, look, where's your mask? You need to be wearing a mask. The arbitrary dictates are just absolutely ridiculous. But that being said, we all need to wear a mask. We only need to do as we're told. We all need to stay together by staying apart, and so on and so forth. Over my dead body. But look, make no mistake about it. We have a fight ahead of us. And I was speaking to one of my friends about this. Until enough people become conscious about what is going on, a lot of the momos out there, the pineal, calcified intellectual morons that think you are required to sacrifice yourself to the state, yeah, as long as these people are the majority, we're not going to be able to see change, whether it's even through force. Fundamentally, this is a spiritual war, but it requires us to elevate the consciousness, the vibration of the planet, the vibration of the momos into people that are bearing the light of Christ, people that are bringing about an efflorescence in consciousness and actually understand that as much as they may want something, they cannot force you to sacrifice yourself. This is the thing that we've been seeing throughout history for millennia. My people have been sacrificed time and time again for the state. And when I talk about my people, no, mate, this is not about race. I'm not talking about black people. I'm not talking about white. This is not a racial thing. I'm talking about the misfits, the Aquarians, the denizens of freedom, people that actually believed in the idea of sovereignty, believed in the concept of Christos, Gnosis, people that believed in the esoteric knowledge. Throughout history, the entire history of the Western civilization is based off of individuals, groups of people that believed in truth, liberty, light, gnosis. In fact, the entire system of religion comes from these people that were students of the mysteries. We can trace this to Pythagoras, the first universal genius, the Pythagorean school. These Gnostics, the Cathars, the Albigensians, the Manichaeans. Essentially, the history of Christianity, the history of the wisdom traditions, is a group of people that believed in freedom and truth and not being held to the beck and call of the state. Jesus Christ was a classic example of that. Truly an anarchist, someone that was against the state, did not believe in following the dictates of Caesar and paid the ultimate price for it. And time again, these people would tell these individuals, these Christians, these disseminators of wisdomatic truth bombs, that they must sacrifice themselves for the state, that it's in the interest of the greater good. Time and time again, that they must burn these witches, these people that had enlightened knowledge, whether they were the scientists or the esotericists. Essentially, they're one and the same, because they were heathens. And they always believed that what they were doing was right. We must burn these witches. They are false prophets. Burn them. It is for the greater good. We are right and righteous in what we do. And this is why these people kept their information secret, because essentially they were persecuted throughout all of the world. These esoteric orders, essentially the students of the mysteries. And this is basically the history of religion, ladies and gentlemen. It comes from these wisdom traditions, people that were essentially trying to fight against the system or believed in elevating themselves to high levels of consciousness and did not want to be murdered because of their secret knowledge. And here we are again, 2021, where fundamentally people that believe in the truth are being called crazy and are now essentially being taken into mental asylums. Or at least I presume that's going to be happening. That seems to be the push at the moment. And we have leaders all around the world forcing these people to get boom shakalaka, and then having the balls to say that they're not forcing them, that it's not mandatory, that it's not mandatory, but we're just going to be putting all these restrictions on you. And we're not forcing you to do this thing, but if you don't, you can't leave your home. And essentially, we're going to force you to take this thing, but it's not force. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you think. But remember that there are more people waking up every single day. That it is incumbent upon us to strive to be the change that we want to see in the world. To stand on the river of truth and say nay to the tyranny that is unfolding. Peace out, keep it real, don't drive and text. This is your chocolate Nubian soul brother, the Esoteric Noetic. Be sure to check us out on Telegram. Support us through the links below if you feel inclined to do so. Best way to get in touch with me, ladies and gentlemen, because I don't know how long I'm going to be on the tubes, is through the Telegram. Odyssey is also good. But hit us up, subscribe to us, and I shall do my best to keep you informed and keep dropping those wisdomatic chocolate Nubian truth bombs. Until next time, Suri Namaskara. Namaste. Ow!
What is liberty?
What the? Who says you can't build muscle on a vegan diet?
What's it like being a hottie in the vegan community? There are no political solutions, only technological ones.
The economics of the system don't allow multiple competing systems to survive.
Engineering, technology, these arts of humanity, they are magic.